Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome back. We are learning class 8 biology. In that, we are learning chapter number 9, that is reproduction in animals. Right, dear students? In our previous video, we had seen the introduction of this chapter, that is reproduction in animals. What is reproduction? That also we had seen, dear students, that reproduction, that making again something or making a copy of anything, that is called as reproduction over here. Also in our previous video, dear students, we did one activity, that is different names of the particular animal babies, right, that we had seen. Okay, now today, dear students, we are going to learn in detail about this chapter, about this main topics of this chapter number 9, that is reproduction. So let's begin with it, dear students. Okay, so first of all, we will learn about the definition of the reproduction, dear students. So if you are move with the definition of this chapter, that the definition is that reproduction is the process of giving rise to an offspring. Also, in another language, we want to say that the definition is it is the biological process by which new individual organisms, the particular organisms are also called as offspring over here, dear students, that are produced from their parents. So this is the actual definition of the reproduction, that reproduction is the process of giving rise to an offspring from parents. A particular new individual is come out, a young one is come out, and that process is called as reproduction, that is making again something or making copy of anything. And in biological way, if we are going to say the definition, that it means that a new individual organism is produced from their parents, and that particular new individual organism is called as offspring over here. Dear students, if we look is into this image, a dog with puppies, right, it means that एक जो डॉग है उसके पपीज़ हैं, मीन्स डॉग अपने जैसे ही दूसरी स्पीसीज़ को प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, that this particular production process is called as reproduction. Same with us, we humans, we are the babies of our parents. It means that one process occurs due to which we people are born and we are present here. Okay, so in both the images you can get the idea that what do you mean by reproduction, making same copies. For example, humans are making the babies as looks like the humans, whereas different animals are making a particular babies which are looking at their particular animals. For example, in this image you can see here, dear students, that a dog making puppies. Okay, एक जो डॉग है वो अपने जैसे डॉग की स्पीसीज को ही प्रोड्यूस करेगा, राइट, उसमें से कोई और स्पीसीज प्रोड्यूस नहीं होगी. इन अ सेम वे इफ़ अ काव इज़ देयर, इफ़ अ शीप इज़ देयर, इफ़ अ गोट इज़ देयर, ये हर एक जो पर्टिकुलर एनिमल है वो अपने जैसे दूसरी स्पीसीज को प्रोड्यूस करेगा, एंड दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड एज द रिप्रोडक्शन. एंड डियर स्टूडेंट्स, द मोस्टली द systems which are present in our body, that is digestion, or we can say the respiration or excretion, circulation, ये सारी processes के साथ reproduction is also a very necessary process फॉर द सर्वाइवल ऑफ द ह्यूमन बींग. अगर ये एक कंटिन्यूएशन में नहीं रहता है रिप्रोडक्शन, इट मीन्स दैट इट स्टॉप्स द ग्रोथ ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर स्पीसीज. सो रिप्रोडक्शन इज द वेरी नेसेसरी एंड वेरी रिक्वायर्ड process. Okay, getting now moving with the next topic here. Okay, that we discussed that reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species. As now I told you, dear student, that if any species stops their reproduction, for example अगर dogs puppies को produce करना बंद कर दे, puppies का reproduction बंद हो जाए, then in next future we are not able to see any dog on the earth surface getting. So that is why it is called that reproduction is essential also. For why? Because for the continuation of that particular species. Okay, now if we are going to talk about the types or modes of reproduction, so there are generally two modes of reproduction. They are, the first one is sexual reproduction, dear students, and the second one is asexual reproduction. Getting? The first is sexual reproduction and the second is asexual reproduction. Okay, dear students, try to recall the reproduction in plants which you studied in class 7. You will remember that plants that reproduce sexually have male and female reproductive parts. And can you name these parts? In same way, in animals also, males and females having different reproductive parts or organs. In this today's video, we will learn about the male reproductive organs as well as female reproductive organs. Okay, so before first we start with the definition of sexual reproduction, that what is sexual reproduction, or we can say the difference between asexual and sexual reproduction. So dear students, asexual reproduction involves only one parent. That you all know that asexual reproductions in this particular process they involve only one parent, whereas they involve only one parent, whereas sexual reproduction involves two parents. Then offspring, or we can say whatever the product is there, whatever the young ones, or simply say the daughters, genetically identical to parent. Means in asexual reproduction जो भी product produce होती है, जो भी offspring बनता है, जो भी babies बनते हैं, वो same they are exactly same as their parents, whereas in sexual reproduction offspring genetically mix of both the parents. जो टू पेरेंट्स इन्वॉल्व हैं वो दोनों पेरेंट्स के जेनेटिक मिक्स होके ऑफस्प्रिंग में आएंगे. The next is they involves regular body cells. Sexual reproductions involves regular body cells. Okay, that we will also learn in the next part of this chapter, that how asexual reproduction occurs. And sexual reproduction involves specialized sex cells. So many different types of cells we had learned, dear students, right, in chapter number 8, that is the cell structure. So many different types of cells are present in our body. A particular tissue have a particular cells are present which are doing same kind of function. In a same way, as particular cells are present in our body which are doing the process of reproduction, they are called as sex cells, and that particular sex cells are involved in sexual reproduction. Okay. So as now I asked you, dear students, that can you name the particular reproductive part in plants which you had learned in class 7. So recall it back again here, dear students, that the first is male parts with the functions. So you can see over here in this image, that is stamen, a whole particular portion of the male reproductive part in flower, or we can say plant, is called as stamen, right? This stamen having two different parts, one is anther and second is filament. What is anther? That anther is which produces pollen grains which develops sperm, and filament which supports the anther. So these are the male parts, reproductive parts of the flower. Now if we move with the female reproductive part, so you can see over here, that is pistil, that is female reproductive part. For example, the male reproductive part is called as stamen over here, the female reproductive part is called as pistil. Now what is stigma? Stigma is the sticky pollen receptive part. Whatever the pollen is removed out from the anther of the male part is stick or stuck by the open receptive part, which is called as stigma. Second is stele. What is stele? The stalk of the pistil down which the pollen tube grows. एक particular tube होती है जहाँ से पिस्टल नीचे की तरफ जाता है, जहाँ पे जो पोलन ट्यूब है, जो पोलन जाकर ग्रो स्टक हुआ है स्टिग्मा के ऊपर, वो ग्रो होना शुरू होता है. द नेक्स्ट इज ओवरी दैट कंटेन्स ओव्यूल्स एंड बिकम्स fruit, and lastly is the ovule that becomes the seeds when sperm cells fertilize the egg cell. So this is all about the brief intro, or we can say brief recalling about the male reproductive and female reproductive organs, or we can say systems of the plants. Now here in this chapter we have to learn about the reproductive system in humans, dear students. Yes, especially in previously image you have seen that dog with puppies and mother with baby. So here our main concern is how human babies are produced. यहाँ पे हमारा मेन कंसर्न ये है कि ह्यूमन बेबी कैसे रिप्रोड्यूस होता है. So that is why we have to learn over here about the reproductive system in humans. Okay, so dear students, we'll start with the sexual reproduction in humans. Okay, so here we are taking the definition of the sexual reproduction in humans. That the definition says the type of reproduction which involves two parents to give rise to an offspring is called as sexual reproduction. So definitely, dear students, you can get the idea that sexual reproduction involves two parents, means definitely two parents are required over here, or simply I want to tell you here, dear students, that is two different sexes are required over here. Why the word different is used here, dear students? Because two same sexes cannot produce an offspring. Getting two male cannot produce an offspring, to female cannot produce an offspring. Definitely two different sexes, two different parents are required. Dear students, this particular logo you have seen at so many areas, either at the public toilets, or at the restaurants, or at the movies, at whenever at so many places you have seen such kind of logo, right? And you can easily identify that this particular pink color logo is about the female and this particular green color logo is about the male. So it means that these are the logo of the male and female. So here the sexual reproduction involves two different types of parents, or two different sexes which give rise to an offspring, and also called as young ones, and this particular type of reproduction is called as sexual reproduction. Okay, now we will talk about some of the features of the sexual reproduction, some of the characteristic of the sexual reproduction, dear students. So first one, it is tell over here that it is biparental. That bi means two and parental means parents. It means that it involves two different parents over here. That you all now get the idea about the sexual reproduction, right? Now the next point is very much important over here in this sexual reproduction, dear student, that offspring produce inherit some characteristic from parents and some new characters also. Whatever the offspring is produced, for example, if we talk about yourself, dear students, so just compare yourself, that might be you have heard so many times from your relatives, from your friends, that oh, अपने पापा जैसे दिखते हो, या आप अपने मम्मी जैसे दिखते हो, राइट? योर चिन इज़ लाइक योर फादर, और योर चिन इज़ लाइक योर मदर, योर आईज आर लाइक योर फादर, और योर आईज आर लाइक योर मदर. वॉट एवर, सो मेनी डिफरेंट sentences you have heard so many times from your relatives, from your friends, right? So why it is so, dear students? Because whatever the offspring is there, वो कुछ कैरेक्टर्स अपने पेरेंट्स से लेती है और कुछ नए कैरेक्टर्स बनाती है जो दोनों पेरेंट्स को कैरेक्टर्स को मिक्स करके आते हैं. So this is a very important feature of the sexual reproduction that you all know. For example, one example I had kept over here, dear students, that the color of the eye, right? That for the first, if two parents are there which having both having the brown color eyes, so definitely the 75% chances है कि offspring के भी brown color eyes होंगे. Okay, but if we move with the second case over here, that if one parent having green color and another parent having eye color, another parent having brown eye color, then the 50% chances are there to have a brown color with the offspring, and 40% we can say 38 to 40% chances are there that of offspring having green color. So for example, this is only an example, dear students, that I want to that I want to able to recognize the sexual reproduction feature, that this is a very important feature of the sexual reproduction कि ऑफस्प्रिंग या यंग वंस के जो भी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होते हैं वो या तो कुछ दोनों पेरेंट्स में से आते हैं, या जो नए कैरेक्टर्स बनते हैं वो दोनों के मिक्स बनते हैं. गेटिंग ओवर हियर, डियर स्टूडेंट्स, फॉर एग्जांपल कलर ऑफ हेयर ऑल्सो. If one parent having black color of hair and another parent having brown color of hair, at that time also difference can be shown. Okay, if we talk about the second feature of the sexual reproduction, that it is fusion of gametes, and fertilization takes place in such kind of reproduction. In sexual reproduction, fertilization should be takes place, and it is a fusion of gametes. Now might be you having the question that what is gamete. Before moving to the gamete, let's name about the female gamete and male gamete. So dear student, the female gamete is called as ovum, whereas the male gamete is called as sperm. The female gamete name is ovum and the male gamete name is sperm. This is also very important question and many times asked in exam also in 1 mark, that gave the names of female gamete and male gamete. So the name of female gamete is ovum and the name of male gamete is sperm. Now you have the question that madam, what is gamete actually? Okay, so dear students, what is gamete? Gametes are an organism's reproductive cells. Getting what is gamete? Gametes जो है वो reproductive organs produce करते हैं. They are directly participating in the process of reproduction. So they are also called as sex cells. So female gametes are called as ova or ovum or egg cells, and male gametes are called as sperm. Okay, now here we have to talk about the male reproductive organs.